Welcome to Uncontained and happy Thanksgiving. Like so many of you, are taking the holiday off, and I can't leave you without anything to listen to, so I'm going to give you one of my favorite episodes that I've done. It's the episode I recorded with American Idol contestant Rocky Peters, and I think it's a very fitting episode for the Thanksgiving season because it shows a lot of what we should be thankful and how he was able to be thankful with even when he had nothing. Uncontained will be back next week with a brand new episode for you. We got a few things lined up. Revisiting Halloween with interview I did with Ying Liu from the Haunted Bay, and did that at the Warfield in San Francisco. And then got a couple other things for you as well, along with JV Torres, another podcaster who has a story podcast, episodic, The Rise of King Asilas. But I won't keep talking to you. Enjoy your turkey or tofurkey or whatever you're eating for Thanksgiving. And hopefully it's not tofurkey because that just sounds wrong. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you next week. Welcome to Uncontained, episode 92. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and this episode of Uncontained happened completely by chance. Yes, I was standing in line waiting to buy my 3 things of ice cream at the grocery store, and I ran into Rocky Peter from American Idol. Rocky is a self-taught musician whose musical influences range from reggae, soul, pop, and folk music. He made it to the group rounds, but that wasn't the most interesting part about him. This man has an amazing story. He's overcome so many things to get to where he's at today, including being abandoned as a 2-year-old in Nigeria after being born in the United States, then being homeless after graduating college, and continuing to push through to follow his dreams and his passion of music. And before we jump into the interview, I do have a track coming up for you from Rocky. It's called Good Day. You can find that on his YouTube page and Spotify. Also, just want to let you know that TeePublic is having a sale right now, so you can actually get Uncontained merchandise at a discounted price. It's a pre-Black Friday sale, so you can give Uncontained for Christmas. I haven't been able to say that before, so that's pretty cool. Please, any help for the show is appreciated, whether it's buying merchandise or just spreading the word of the show. So I'd like to just take a minute to acknowledge the men and women who have provided service to our country overseas and domestic, keeping it safe. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. This is an interview that definitely helped inspire me after talking to Rocky. So please enjoy his track, Good Day, and we'll jump right into the interview with Rocky Peter.
Arise and shine, the birds are singing by my window. They're dancing with the butterflies beneath the blue sky. I wash my face and stay awake and enjoy the scenery. This will be a good day. 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 It's a beautiful day, 'cause I chose to forget my troubles. It's a beautiful day if you choose to forget your troubles too. Woo! 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 Cedar Avenue. The wind of bliss is blowing. The wind is blowing wild and free. The leaves in the tree are dancing. The rain is gone now, the sun is shining. The flowers in the trees are blossom. This will be a good day. 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 It's a beautiful day, 'cause I chose to forget my troubles. It's a beautiful day if you choose to forget your troubles too. It's a beautiful day, 'cause I chose to forget all my troubles. It's a beautiful day if you choose to forget your troubles too. Woo! I work to the lights. I wake to the lights. I work to the lights. I live my life with gratitude and hope. I live my life with gratitude and hope. I wake to make you happy. I work to make you happy. This will be a good day. 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 This will be a good day.
It's a beautiful day.
How you doing, Rocky?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Erin.
All right, great. Well, thank you for joining me. It's kind of crazy how we met. Like, we were standing in line at the grocery store, and somehow we started talking, and it's like, oh my God, that guy's on American Idol.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? Like, you can run into people anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And now, you have a very, very interesting story on growing up and how you got into music. We'll touch on like your story growing up here in a little bit, but how did you end up getting into music?
Well, I started singing since I was 5.
Okay.
And I just naturally sang. I never had lessons or anything like that. I just loved singing. So singing was a form of therapy for me growing up because of some of the obstacles I experienced. And I did it for a very long time until I got to a point where I lost my voice due to puberty.
That happens to the best of us.
Yeah, and then I took a break and and then I got back to a point where in college I studied biological sciences, so I have my degree in biological sciences.
Wow.
And yeah, so but during the process I realized I was going through a lot of stress and a lot of pain and thinking about a little too much, especially being here in the United States without my family close by. So I asked myself, how were you able to overcome some of the major obstacles you overcame in Africa? And the answer was very simple: music.
Okay.
And I sang every single day. I didn't sing because, oh, you know how some people are like, when I grow up, I want to be a musician. I never had that as a kid. I never dreamt about being a musician. I just knew that I loved singing.
Okay.
I never sang because, oh, I'm going to go sing because I'm going to go practice. No, I just sang every single day for hours because I absolutely loved singing. So
That's the best way to do it too, you know, like
Yeah.
because then you know you won't get sick of it. It won't become a job. It's something that like comes from inside you.
yes. Yeah. So, and I started writing music when I was 9 years old. And I didn't know it was a talent to compose. You know,
Yeah.
I'd just make up songs and I'd memorize the pattern of the songs. They weren't like completely always arranged in pop standard arrangement, but I had my own unique arrangements. It wasn't until later on when I started paying more attention that I realized, okay, maybe I have to arrange my music in a certain form. But you know, I would just make up songs about my life, about my journey, and I eventually found out that I kind of had the ear for music. You know, I remember the first time I went to a church and I saw a piano, and I just played random things that I would hear, like random melodies, and I never had lessons, and people were just mind blown. Like, how are you doing that? Like, you know, so I
No experience.
yeah. So I have like a pretty good relative pitch.
Yeah.
Perfect pitch comes with training because obviously you have to know the name of the notes, and you know, like I didn't even know music notes went from A to G when I was playing the piano with relative pitch. Literally, I would hear melodies and just play them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I kind of knew there was something there musically, but I didn't quite know until it became an obsession in college. The obsession to find my happiness that I had when I had nothing. You know,
Yeah.
when I was in the streets eating food from trash cans, drinking water from potholes. Those days where how did I stay happy? I started asking my questions. What kept me happy? Because I was a pretty happy kid. You know,
Really?
I experienced a lot of pain, but somehow you know, there was a certain level of gratitude and joy and optimism through my childhood. So as an adult, I started asking myself, how was I able to maintain that level of happiness? And now that I rediscovered myself and find out that it was because I was singing, and I didn't even think it was that for a while, because I did it naturally. Like I said, you know, I just did, you know. So
Yeah.
I used to think everybody could sing when I was a kid. I did. Yeah, you could see why, right? Because
If it comes so easy to you, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's further than it can't get much further than the truth from everybody being able to sing.
yeah, when I got older, I realized well, that was a misconception that I had. But I thought people just choose not to, but people could, you know. Yeah. So
And you know, there's the theory that everybody can sing, but a lot of it's like your self-consciousness gets in the way and stuff like that. And I'm one of those people. Like I can't sing. I can do voices. I can like talk in front of people, but get me on stage and be like, here, sing something. I freeze up. So that is definitely a skill that you have, my friend.
yeah, thanks.
So, we talked a little bit about your childhood as you were talking about music making you happy.
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell on your past, but just so people know, like, what exactly was your childhood like?
Well, you know, just very briefly, I have this accent, so when I tell people that I'm a cowboy, they might get a little confused, but I'm an African American cowboy. Yeah,
Okay,
so
please explain.
so I was born in like the countryest place you could ever imagine. I was born in Oklahoma.
Really?
Yeah. So my parents came out here. My father was an engineer, and his father did pretty well in life. There's a secret I don't like to share with people about my father's father, but he did very well in a legit way.
Okay.
But you know, my dad came out to U.S. and he got married and had kids and sent us to Africa after him and my mom got in a fight.
He just sent you to Africa?
He took us to Africa.
Okay,
He took us there and just left us there.
Okay.
So he abandoned us and came back to U.S. And that's how I got exposed to the African culture. And my mom was not completely mentally stable. She was a great mom when she had it going on, but she wasn't always there. So my younger brother and we grew up close, very close, because my older brother, there were three of us. My older brother died after we got to Nigeria. It was pretty like different for him.
Yeah.
Going from the United States to Nigeria was like a big transition for him.
How old was he at the time?
I'm not sure. I think like 4 years old. I was 2, and my younger brother was just 1.
Okay.
So, but I think it was for him. He already when you're 4 or 5, you get an idea of what's going on, and so it was a dramatic change for him. So he couldn't really handle the change. So he was gone. But long story short, my brother and I, when I gained the consciousness of knowing who I was as a kid, age 4 or 5, that self-discovery of knowing that I'm a human being. I found myself most of the times in the streets. My younger brother and I roamed the streets with a group of kids known as Almajiris.
What does that mean, or does that translate to anything?
The Almajiris are the poorest kids in the Nigerian society, the absolute poorest. Like, we roamed the streets with no shoes, no clothes, and we carried bowls of plates and begged random strangers for food. And there's this thing in America where people make fun of fat people. It's not so. When I was growing up, when you see a fat kid, you wanted to follow them home. We got to discover where you got that food from. So literally, we would follow random kids home. As funny as that sounds. And to see if their parents could feed us. And we go to random strangers' homes sometimes. Sometimes we would get fed and sometimes we would get kicked out.
Yeah.
But it was always worth the try.
Definitely. Home cooked meal versus, scavenging the streets trying to find something. You definitely want the home cooked meal every time, man. So was it in African culture that fat kids were looked at as like kind of wealth and like well provided for, or is it like, because in America, now we have like the fat shaming as you mentioned, but I do know like in some cultures, at least in the past, it was like that guy's fat, he's rich,
This is true. Yeah, like for the most part, fat kids are looked at as, you're doing well, you eat. That's a start, but it's different. It's a different culture. Now my journey, I want to say this very clear because I've had some people like some Nigerians ask me like, you should stop sharing your story. It makes us look bad because we didn't have that kind of upbringing, and there's this stereotype that people think, oh, all Nigerians are poor, which is far from the truth. All Nigerians are not poor.
Okay.
Even in my particular situation, there's a story I don't like to share, like I said earlier, but I kind of feel comfortable sharing it. It's I don't share this very often, but my grandfather was a king for over 20 years.
Really?
Yes, and my father is a prince. So what makes my story crazier, growing up dirt poor, is that my grandfather didn't know. He was very generous too. Before he died, he helped people, like change people's lives. He had no clue we were in a different side of the country suffering.
Yeah.
So my father, grew up not poor, and
Yeah.
And there are many successful people in Nigeria, so my story is not to necessarily put anyone down or say that all Africans are poor, and this is just my experiences in my life and
Yeah.
the things I had to overcome, the things I've been through, and the things I've had to overcome. So if there is any African or any Nigerian listening, just know that this is my personal life story, and it has nothing to do with you or Africa.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, a little disclaimer. And for everybody else listening that's not Nigerian, not all of Nigeria is like this.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
now that we got the disclaimer out of the way.
Yes. So, so I grew up very poor in the streets, and, it's just a very long story. Like, I'm kind of like thinking about what part of my story to share. When I was 9 years old, my younger brother and I were enslaved.
Really?
Yeah, so we worked a lot in the farms, getting beat up, grossly underfed. Part of our jobs was like, cooking, washing. There was no such thing as a laundry machine in the household we lived in. So you kind of have to carry the clothes on big basins, carry them on your head, and take them to the river and wash for hours.
Yeah.
So it was one of our jobs, and then we spent a lot of time in the farm, just tilling the soil and planting, harvesting, and then preparing the crops, taking them to the market to sell them. One of the cash crops we worked on was something called cassava. I don't know if you know what that is.
It sounds familiar. Is it a fruit or?
It's a root. It's
A
like
root.
it's kind of like a yam,
Okay.
but it's cassava. It's kind of like, it has a different texture to it. That's how they make starch. Starch.
Okay.
Right? That's where you get
Kind of like a
starch from.
potato or, yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly, but bigger than potato.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so it's one of the things we prepared, and the preparation process from beginning to end, it's very time consuming, and it demands a lot of labor. So it's one of the things we did, but we were treated like second class citizens. We were not allowed to sit on the same seats or, eat with the same bowls and plates, and not allowed to use the same bathroom. It was pretty crazy. Even the food we cooked, we were not allowed to eat them because they were just too good for us.
Really?
So we were given lower wages to cook different meals. But you could see why singing for me, when I went to the farms, or when I was doing any kind of physical labor, singing for me was like my way of hiding and escaping from that. So that's kind of like the foundation for me, what got me into singing. And I think I told you a little bit of my story when we first met. And here in the United States, singing has helped me overcome a lot of obstacles in Africa, which I could go on forever and ever. I'm actually writing a book on my story. But here in America, after college, I was homeless, So
After college, after getting
getting my degree,
your degree,
in biological sciences, I was homeless. I didn't have work. I was working, but it was a student job. So after I lost my student job, I had nothing else. I looked for jobs and applied and couldn't find work. So I was homeless for a while, but I never gave up. I kept singing. But within a short period of time, I was homeless for over a year, so
okay,
it's not like that short.
Yeah,
but
it's got to seem like a really long time being homeless too. Like
yeah. Well, here in America, for the most part, yeah. So yeah, exactly. So, but I applied for American Idol because a lot of people that heard me sing were like, you got to get out there. The lady that gave me the guitar that I told you about, that was not my first guitar. My first guitar was a different guy who was Asian. His name is Mr. Lee.
Okay.
He worked in a donut shop. And I used to go there and study at night, like all-nighters. And during my study breaks, I would go outside and sing outside the donut shop. It was a 24-hour donut shop. It's called Fresh Donuts in Riverside, California, on Blaine and Watkins is the cross section for this shop.
Okay.
And I used to go there, and during my study breaks, I'll go outside and sing. And one day, he paid attention, and he heard me singing outside. He was like, "What are you doing outside? You need to bring that in here. I want to hear you sing." And so when he heard me singing, he really believed in me that he said, "Come back tomorrow. I have a gift for you." I went back the next day and he got me my first guitar ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have any clue how to play it at the moment?
None. No clue at all.
Okay.
And so he asked me, "Do you know how to play?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Okay, this will take you to the next level. If you can play this will take you to the next level. You need to teach yourself how to play. Find a way to learn how to play." So I sat in that donut shop and just asked every single one that walked in, "Do you play guitar?" I was shocked at how many people don't play guitar. Now that I play, it seems like everybody plays. But, I would just ask random people, "Do you play?" No clue. No one gave me any clues. So I just fiddled around with the guitar for a while. And if it sounded good, it was good. So I figured out some things that sounded good. And I just played, and eventually, I figured, why not just Google how to play guitar? So I went to the library, and I watched a few videos on YouTube, and within 2 weeks, I was playing the guitar.
Really? Within 2 weeks?
Within 2 weeks, I was playing the guitar.
That is impressive. I'm playing guitar, and it's my fingers are working individually against each other, and it's a challenge to get your fingers all coordinated. But I'm guessing it was kind of like the piano, where you kind of just I hear that sounds good, and just roll with it.
Yeah, but there was also a lot of hard work. I devoted an obsessive amount of time each day playing, and to the point where my fingers bled. And that didn't stop me either, You
got to build up those calluses, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think if you repeat anything over and over and over again, within a matter of time, it just becomes muscle memory. You just get better at it. And if you repeat anything more consistently, rather than just, take out one large chunk of time a day and then take a week break, if you just do it every single day consistently, you just get better at it. So.
Yeah, true. The whole 10,000 hours thing, I think it's Malcolm Gladwell or something to be an expert at something, you got to put in like 10,000 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
So every day will make that 10,000 hours go by faster.
This is true.
So how did you go from getting your first guitar to applying for American Idol?
Well, long story short, that first guitar got broken a little bit, and then it got stolen. The one that was given to me by Mr. Lee.
Really?
And then I was borrowing guitars. After that, I started borrowing guitars because now I kind of know how to play. And American Idol, a few of my fans and friends, I started having hardcore followers that were just like, because they would hear my original songs and were just like, wow, like, that's actually really good. So I started playing a lot in the streets, and people encouraged me to audition for American Idol or something, The Voice or something.
Yeah.
But I was in Southern California, and mind you, I had no money to go anywhere or do anything.
Yeah.
So people helped me raise the money to come out to the Bay Area. And one of my friends from college called his mom and said, hey, you know, I have a friend who is really talented. I need him to stay in your house so he could, you know, compete for Idol. And that's how I came out to the Bay Area. So I had random people plus some friends make donations for me to come out here. So I had to compete before I even got on the show, because you have to compete. There are some rounds you have to compete for. And eventually, if you make it past those preliminary rounds and then sing for the producers of the show, and there are like, I think 11 of them. It's weird. A long table, and it's like 11 people, and it's like a bunch of cameras. Like the last round before the TV round.
Okay, so you actually sing. It's not just you go in and sing for the three judges. You have to sing for producers first, so they know who's going to be good and who's going to be like, you know, the outtakes from the auditions beforehand.
They kind of do, yeah. They kind of know who's going to be great and who's just going to be absolutely terrible, because that's what they go through. Over 100,000 people audition for this thing each year. So they have to produce a TV show that shows everyone that this is what we go through. We go through people that, you know, think they can sing but can't. And we got to find a way to show you this.
Yeah.
And we got people that are also amazing. And they select, you know, they kind of like boil it down to, okay, this is what we got. This is the pool for what we're working with. And the first people they select, you get like a golden ticket. The first golden ticket you get by the celebrities is not your first golden ticket.
Really?
Yeah, the producers give you a golden ticket if they like you for any reasons, or if they think you're kind of delusional, you know, for whatever reasons why they choose you, they give you your first golden ticket. And then we all kind of know too, like the competitors, we all kind of know who's good, because we sing for each other like all day during the you know, preliminaries. We're all, you know, performing for each other to kind of, because it's boring just waiting around.
Oh, I imagine standing in line for hours.
Yeah, but I was in Cow Palace, so after you get offline, then you got to sit inside in all those chairs, and there's so many people, and we all just bust out singing for each other, and we take turns. And yeah, so you kind of know who's like, you know, like, oh, that person got a chance.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to be waiting in line, you might as well be waiting or sitting around with a bunch of entertainers, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. And you also know people that, there are a lot of people that are good that get caught too. Like that are really, really good but for one reason or the other, we don't know this part. But during the process, after you get your golden ticket from the celebrities, there are a lot of talented singers. Some of them sounding like Beyonce, but they don't want a second Beyonce.
Yeah,
Like they feel like we got Beyonce, you sound just like Beyonce. So, maybe this is not necessarily the platform to promote what you do.
yeah,
And then they're also image conscious too. Sometimes they come out thinking we want to find the next Justin Bieber, and if you don't look like Justin Bieber, too bad.
yeah. You're kind of out of luck. It's
Yeah.
like a big casting session.
Exactly. So they're image conscious. Like they want you to look a certain way. Sometimes they come in with preconceived notion of what they're looking for,
Yeah,
what they think the industry needs. Does that mean they're never wrong? A lot of times they're wrong. Like Tori Kelly didn't make it that far on Idol. She made it far, but she made it just as far as I did.
yeah,
Like just enough where she got some exposure, but not enough to even go to the live rounds on the show.
yeah. I watched your audition for American Idol. Like the judges were like what, like Keith Urban, J Lo, and Harry Connick Jr. Right?
Yeah.
And speaking of like them talking about looking for a certain type or a like certain image they're going for. Keith Urban even said like, I like you, but I'm not sure if you're exactly like the style, if your style matches American Idol. I
Yeah.
kind of remember that part right there.
Yeah.
What was it like working with the judges? Do you have much interaction with them like when you're not shooting the show? Or
We do in the theaters when we're competing in the theaters, but not all of us do. Like
Okay.
it depends on who. For me, I was always in the front of the theater, so sitting next to the judges. So I had a lot of opportunities to interact.
Yeah.
But generally they're not, I don't think they're necessarily allowed to interact with us. They don't want, the way the show is set up, they don't want them to have favorites. They don't want them to be your friends.
Yeah.
During the process they eventually become friendly, but part of the rules is like if someone is your friend, you have to be even more harsh to them, because then it's gonna look like, oh, you're only choosing them because you like them and they're your friend.
That makes complete
Yeah.
sense. That makes complete sense right there. I like there's two judges I like. Of course there was like Simon Cowell back in the day just because he's a dick, he was entertaining to watch. But I like the one of the judge that you had that I really liked the best was like Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah.
I'll admit I didn't watch Idol that often, but it seemed like when it would come to him, he'd actually give people real, actionable feedback and real advice. And it seemed like Keith Urban, J Lo would say everything was nice, everything was good. Oh, that was so awesome, that was so awesome. Then Harry Connick Jr. would kind of look at them and be like, "No, okay, here's what you like, do this, do that," and like I don't know. I kind of respected his opinion because I know of him as like a singer, piano player, and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, what was your take on the judges? I'm not asking you necessarily to talk trash on anybody, but what was it? What was it like with the judges? And did you have a favorite?
I know this is gonna sound political, but I honestly liked them all.
Okay.
They all are different. Harry Connick Jr. is a phenomenal pianist, phenomenal musician. J-Lo is the kind of lady that would, entertain you in many different ways. Like she can dance. She's all kinds of threats,
Yeah.
On stage. And Keith Urban is an exceptionally great guitarist. Here's a little secret.
Okay.
Something that happened on the show. Keith Urban played my guitar, and I don't know if this pissed him off, but it was not my guitar. It was a borrowed guitar. Remember I was telling you my story. I was borrowing
Yeah.
guitar. The guitar I played on Idol audition was borrowed.
Really?
It was not my guitar. So this was before I met the lady that gave me this other guitar, that really changed my life. And Keith Urban, because I was sitting at the front, so during breaks we'd jam out. He would like play my guitar, and he asked me, "Can I sign it? You want me to sign it?" And the first thing I thought, in my head, it's not my guitar. But I didn't say that to him. I should have. But I said no. And I didn't have a chance to explain myself. And I think that pissed him off. It could be one of the reasons why I'm not on the show.
It could have been
I
a blow
don't
to
know.
his ego. It could have been a blow to his ego.
Yeah. So
Like, shit, he doesn't want me to sign his guitar? What a dick.
yeah.
Doesn't he
So-
know I'm Keith Urban, damn it?
Yeah. So and then later on, I asked the guy that gave me the guitar, that lended the guitar to me. I was like, "Yo, Kid Auburn, I don't know if you know him. I don't know if you're a fan, but you know he's a phenomenal guitarist, and he asked to sign your guitar. Like, is it okay?" He's like, "Sure," but the next show I was gone. I got cut out after that.
Oh, okay, so you didn't have a chance to go back and be like, hey, I checked and the owner of the guitar says it's cool.
Yeah,
So-
and he didn't get a chance to know also that it wasn't my guitar. So, you know, it's just a lot of things that, you know, so I didn't think of that until recently, not too long ago. I was thinking about, I was getting flashbacks about things. I was like, oh, man, like, dang, you know, like,
like that kind of came off bad.
Yeah.
But luckily, Keith Urban listens to every episode of Uncontained. No, I just made that up. But maybe he'll stumble on this and find the truth out. But and then he'll feel bad that he cut you. So, what round did you make it to in American Idol?
I made it to the group rounds.
Okay.
Where you have to work with a group of people, and they give us the rules, which is learn a new song. They give us a list of songs. We got to choose one out of those, and if a different group chooses the song before you, there's like a certain limit, then you're not allowed to choose that. Like, so they give us like a list, and we select in random songs. We just choose one out of the list. And we have to learn all the words within a few hours, and
Wow.
and come up with dance moves and choreographed dance moves, and go out and then perform it, and you know, add harmonies or whatever we got to do to make it sound great.
So you only get a few hours to work on those songs?
You get a few hours because before this round, we compete all day. At this point, everybody's exhausted. This is the part of the competition that I thought they gotta fix something about this. And you're not allowed to do vocal exercises too. There is no
no warm-ups?
There's no room. There's no once you get to Orpheum Theater, we're all in the theater during the competition. And I used to try to sneak into the bathrooms to do vocal exercises, and there are signs everywhere. Do not do exercises here. And
What's the reason for that?
I guess maybe is there a way of controlling sound and noise? Maybe if it's okay, then you'd see every singer at every corner doing vocal exercises.
Okay, and then it'd interfere with the performance or whatever of the other
And
person.
and it may. Very true.
You'd hear somebody in the background as they're singing something going la 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 la.
Exactly.
Okay, I can understand that. I thought they were just like, we don't want you warming up your voice.
Yeah, but I think they should fix that part. That's the part. If I would change anything, because you want singers to sound the best they can.
Yeah.
It's good for the singers and it's good for the show if you have people warming up. Like they provide a way. And another thing I didn't like is they make us feel like during the group rounds, they make us feel like, you know, the way it's presented, it's like, oh, you're going to be performing early in the morning.
Okay.
So, you know, if you sleep, you may not get a chance to do this. So we stay up all night. Have you ever stayed up for 2 days straight?
Pretty close. Not quite 2 days completely straight, but
Could you think about how weak your brain feels?
oh yeah, you get brain mush after a while.
You cannot internalize anything. So think about trying to memorize lyrics to a new song. You know, so the edge goes to people who already know the random song they chose. which it's like gambling, really. Like
Yeah.
the probability of you knowing that one of the songs on the list, out of thousands of songs that they could have chosen from, let me extend that, millions of songs they could have
Yeah.
chosen from, the probability of you knowing that one is pretty slim.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
And then there are genres and that they choose from, and they choose certain genres. But my advice to anyone who's doing a show like that is, would definitely be like to memorize like the top 50 songs on the radio,
Gotcha.
and in addition to whatever they know,
Yeah.
because they do choose those songs. And now that I'm in the industry, I think I know one of the reasons why they choose those songs. It's also a way of promoting those songs.
Exactly. They
Yeah,
get paid.
money. Yeah,
By artists or record labels to have
Of
those songs sang.
course.
Of course, of course. Okay, now I know you have to be getting somewhere here before too long. How are we doing on time? Like, do we need to start moving forward onto the final questions, or can we talk about what you're up to right now?
yeah. I mean, like, yeah. So, I think, yeah, we can definitely move on to the final questions. And
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Because I don't want to make you late for wherever you're heading.
Thanks.
I'll try to get this going here. So you've been singing since you were like 5, as you said. So
Yeah.
you've been around the music or music itself or the music industry for quite some time. What advice would you have for somebody who is looking to either get started out as a singer or maybe take it to the next level?
My advice is do it for the love of it. It's like anyone that does anything would tell you that first you have to focus on the love of it. It's just not worth it to just risk everything if you don't love it enough. If you're just going in it for the fame and the money, good luck.
Yeah.
There have been a few people that have succeeded doing that. I don't knock that. There have been a few people that have admitted that they got in the music industry just to make money. It's unlikely, though, that you will last if you are only there for the fame and the money. However, you're passionate about it, just, dedicate yourself. Cut out a certain amount of time that you want to dedicate to your art every day. And do that every day, and then find ways to share your art. Nothing is too small, really. Even though I had the American Idol exposure, my journey to get on the Nobel Peace Prize Award forums and the Olympics, and some of the stuff I'm doing with the United Nations, all started out in the streets.
Yeah.
I met someone. It's a very long story, but I met someone who knew people, and one thing led to another. And before you knew it, I was, working with people that are helping take me to newer places in my career. People that have helped build my career to a point where now schools are inviting me. We need you to come and speak. We need you to come and perform, because of the resume. And there are many ways to make music your career, but it starts with the love. Like I said, like anything can happen anywhere, and if you love it enough and you're passionate about it enough, you would do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's great advice that everybody should heed to, and you mentioned a couple things in there that we haven't I didn't get a chance to bring up. Talking in front of the Nobel Peace Prize audience and also performing at the Olympics. Real quick, do you just want to say how that came about? Or
Well,
if
like I said, it's a very long
or
story.
will we have to? Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
have to do a part 2 sometime, maybe. So, but we'll just have to move on for that right now.
Yeah.
And then, so what are you doing? You kind of touched on this just a little bit, but what are you doing to promote yourself?
One of the things I do is, like I said, I do guerrilla marketing is a big one for me. I printed a lot of cards, and I formed a team. So I have a team of people that believe in me, and I asked them, I challenged their belief. If you believe in me that much and you care about my message as well, would you be able to put your money where your mouth is? Would you be able to invest your time into what I do? So I have a few assistants now, and most of them are doing it because they believe in me. They're not doing it because I'm giving them a lot of money or all that stuff. And when I need things to get done, they handle it. They take care of it. When I'm busy, when I'm on the road, when I'm playing shows, when I'm doing, let's say I needed like 1,000 cards printed, I pick up the phone, call, one of my friends who is assisting with my career, and they're all looking for opportunities for me, every single one of them. So in addition to me looking for opportunities for myself, they're all out there, looking for opportunities.
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, so my advice is get a team. You can't do it alone. Nobody does it alone. You need a team. Challenge your friends. If you believe in me enough, and you think I can make it in this field, I would really appreciate it if you can devote 25 minutes, 30 minutes a day, or an hour a week. You get a few people that are devoting separate amount of times. You want to split the labor where it's not overwhelming on one person.
Yeah.
And you also have to know that you're a giving kind of person, because people give to people who give. If you have a personality of take, never give, it'll be harder to get your friends to help you. But
True.
if your friends know that this person, if I help them, oh, they got my back too. Like if I need anything from them, they totally got my back. If you have, that kind of, if your personality portrays that, the probability of you forming a team is more likely. If your personality does not portray that, you can learn anything, work on it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you work on caring about people, caring about your close friends, and what you can do for their careers and how you can help them.
That is some awesome advice right there. Enroll your friends into helping you out and be like, hey, dude, you believe in me? You want to see me do this? Let's do this together, type thing. So that is great advice, and I may have to see if I can find anybody to recruit.
And another thing is, you need to be visible. So get on. If you don't have social media, get on social media. Be more active on social media. Get yourself a website, and share what you're about. There are people right now, their music, it's, completely like you would think will not succeed. Like they're talking about abusing women or all kinds of stuff, and they have an audience. Everybody has an audience, so find what you're passionate about. And for those, I'm not encouraging you to go do crappy music that abuses people because that's not what I'm about. But I'm saying, find your audience and go out, and you're gonna get criticism. So everybody's not gonna love you. I've met people that hate Michael Jackson and think he's not talented. I was like, that's the last thing you could say about Michael. Of all things you could say about Michael, like, oh, his voice is really bad. What? Like, it's like, what? Like, are you kidding me? And I've met people that don't like Adele.
Yeah.
Adele, like, that's like, it's like I don't even know, like, how do you not like Adele? So
it's
everybody,
one thing not to like them, but like it's one thing not to like them, but to say they're not talented is a whole different ball game. Because liking is personal preference.
That's
but
true.
You can still respect talent and
not like it. Yeah, and well, I've met people, even John Mayer, phenomenal guitarist, amazing vocalist. I've met people that think he is a terrible, singer, and his guitar is not that great, and he's amazing. So I just want to, I'm saying this to encourage anyone that has been told that you're not good enough. Think about what you do, how much you love it, and focus on people who do care, who care
Yeah.
about what you're doing, and like they genuinely care, and they're genuinely fans, and don't focus on the negative people. Because I'm sure if I've met those negative people that are saying this about all these amazing artists, like, have you ever seen mean tweets on Jimmy Kimmel?
Yes, those are hilarious.
Yeah.
But-
But anyway, that's just, that says it all, no matter how
Yeah.
talented you are, you're going to have haters.
Especially when the person who the tweet is about is reading the tweet. It just makes me great. And just to touch on your comment about people say you're not good enough, find your audience. And another thing to go along with that, it takes a lot of time of not being good enough to get good enough. You're
This
going
is
to
true.
have to go through the not good enough stage. Everybody does it. And to get to the good enough stage.
This is very true. Actually, I touched on losing my voice, during puberty earlier.
Yeah.
And during the process of gaining my voice back, I got told to shut up a lot, Yeah, and
I've been there.
yeah, so but the same people that were like, that's terrible, they had no idea that when I was a kid, people would just gather and watch me sing in the farms, like, and leave everything they're doing and just watch me sing. So, but I knew myself, and I kept going, and eventually I got my voice back. And the same people that were like, you need to be quiet, we're hiring me for gigs, we're like, wow, like, what happened, like, like your voice totally transformed. So it's like, and then I tell them my story, like, I actually have been singing for a while, my voice just changed, and I kind of literally, I was bad, I lost my voice, I had to retrain my voice to get back to where it needed to be. So
Yeah, and you have a falsetto now, and so that was probably, I'm guessing that was a huge change, because when you were a kid, you were probably able to actually hit that high note just singing regularly instead of switching over to a falsetto way of singing. Was that a big challenge there, or am I just making that up?
well, the falsetto is something that I've always had since I was a kid. Now, that never like went anywhere. My actual like chest voice and singing well and connecting that falsetto to the chest voice properly was what was lost. But the falsetto has always been there. And then the more I did music, the more I started thinking about how to use it, how to use that high octave range,
Yeah.
and connect it to everything else. So
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, you've had Idol. You've spoke at the Nobel Peace Prize winning. Or
I was
Nobel
actually
Peace Prize.
I performed for the Nobel Peace Prize award forums as well as speak. And I was the only musician in the last year's Nobel
Really?
Peace Prize award forum. Yeah, so
it's because your story is probably so intriguing to people, as well as your musical talent as well.
people believe in possibilities, right? That everything is possible. And if you have a kid who didn't grow up with their parent, were abandoned at the age of 2, and then find a way to escape slavery. I sold myself to be able to afford middle school, because middle school was I sold myself back into slavery after I escaped the first time.
Really?
To a different family to be able to afford middle school because it was expensive. And then I found a way to get back to US and put myself through college, and though English being my third language, and graduate with a degree in biological sciences, and now chasing my dream. When people hear the story, they hear possibilities. They're inspired. They're like, I can chase my dreams too. I can do this too, because this guy did it. He didn't make excuses. He just does it.
Yeah.
And so people like to see that, and I think that is that's my theme in life, is just keep pushing. I have a song on YouTube. I think it has over 1 million views now. It's called Carry On. I performed it live at the Nobel Peace Prize Award. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah, I've listened to a few like YouTube tracks. I'm one of those millions that have listened to it.
Yeah. So Carry On. It's literally talking about what it means. Just don't give up. You got to keep going. So for those of you listening to this podcast, my final message is, no matter what walk of life you're from, I don't know if you're an artist or doing anything else. I just want to say that no matter how difficult it is, that you stay encouraged and stay positive. There's something to be thankful for. Think about your life and think about some of the dreams you've had, about some of the things you wanted to, the place you wanted to be in life, and think about how many of them that you have now, including living an extra day or an extra year of life.
Yeah.
And think about all your blessings, because when you think about the things you do have, suddenly you realize how lucky you are, and suddenly you're encouraged to just jump. Like, life is so short. Like, I could have died a month ago in a car crash. My car flipped so many times, and they had to use the jar of life to cut me out of my car.
Wow.
So and I could have lost my life, and I can honestly, genuinely say that if I lost my life, I would die happy. And that's because I chose to chase my dreams. And while my car, was flipping, I was conscious, and the only thing I could think about was playing music. I was actually on my way to a gig, and all I could think about was getting on stage and performing.
Wow.
And that's my passion. I love the feeling I get from sharing my art, but I also love the feeling people get. I get a lot of emails, a lot of messages on Facebook and Instagram where people are like, yo, that one song you sang changed my life. It saved my relationship with my girlfriend or with my wife. And we listened to it over and over. And some of the songs are not even on the internet. It's people that have seen me in person at shows, or and that are just like, where can we buy this song? And I'm like, I haven't released it yet. I want it to be a surprise where once I release my album, everything is not already there, where you're like, yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to hit people with surprise. So
awesome.
Yeah. So I'm leaving it at this, don't give up, keep pushing, no matter how difficult the road is, and appreciate your blessings. One of the most important thing I think in all journeys is gratitude. No matter how small the gift that someone has given you, being grateful, genuinely being grateful for the gift, takes you places. So yeah.
Awesome, man. That is just like, I was sitting there kind of like, wow, I'm just listening to this. This is pretty awesome. Like, so you kind of answered one of the questions that I had before, which was, how do you want people to receive your music? What do you want them to take away? I know you got to get out of here. Got like 2 more questions left for you. What is a highlight of your career? Not necessarily the highlight, but a highlight.
A highlight of my career. Wow. A highlight so far. Wow. It's really the personal relationships. You know how when you see people sing in the streets, they're like standing on the corner and busking, and a lot of times people walk by and not even care. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the person sounds amazing, but people still don't care, and they just walk by. Oh, that sounds good, and they walk away. The way I've approached one of my marketing strategies, I literally walk up to people and I say, hello, how are you doing today? My name is Rocky. And I say nothing else but, I would love to sing a song for you. And I believe that my purpose for being alive today is to use my art to bring joy to your day. And I genuinely mean this. And I genuinely believe this. And they're like, sure, of course. So and I sing for those people, and it becomes personal. Like, no one has ever dedicated a song to me ever. Like,
I can't say that I've had that happen on the street. Somebody come up, let me sing this song for you, but that is awesome. I'd let you sing, my friend.
So when people send me messages, like someone I met in the BART station here in Oakland, I sang for them, and I didn't even know they were from New Zealand, and they sent me a message and said, "We were so motivated and inspired by your music. We want you to come out to New Zealand. You can stay. We own an island in New Zealand. You can stay on our island unlimited amount of time. Come whenever you want and do a show, and you can live here for free while you do your show." And I met them.
Wow.
They were a couple I met and offered a song in the BART station. And you could meet, if you really do it for the love. I'm not saying everybody's going to run into someone that's going to get them on the Nobel Peace Prize award stage or the Olympics. Obviously, there's some element of luck, but that luck is more likely if you're doing it for the love and you're willing to do it anywhere.
And I don't think there's truer words being spoken. So very, very true. And I have one more question for you. But first, where can people find you? Where can they get a hold of you? Social media, websites, all that. Where's your corner of the internet?
Oh, before I answer that question, I just want to make sure that the last question I clarified that. So the highlight of my career is the messages I get from people.
Okay.
About how they're moved, like saying that this is how they were inspired. So I talked about it, but I didn't know if it was clear enough what I was saying.
I got you, but thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, thanks. But so you can find me on Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever you listen to. Just type Rocky Peter and I will be there. And my social media is I am Rocky Peter, and that's my Instagram and Twitter account.
Okay.
And my Facebook is Rocky Peter. It'd be hard for you to find my Facebook.
I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you want people to be able to contact you on Facebook. But go ahead and say the last name.
Yeah, so Rocky Peter Ajoku. And I have two pages. That's my personal page, Rocky Peter Ajoku, and my fan page is just Rocky Peter.
Okay.
I use my personal page a lot more. Maybe down the line in the future, I'll use the fan page more often. So I want to thank you all so much for those of you that tuned in. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for listening to me and Aaron talk. He's a pretty interesting guy. And I want to thank Aaron and his girlfriend who's actually here with us. She's just...
she's silent right now.
Yeah,
you want to say hi?
No.
No? Okay, she's speechless.
So so thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'd really appreciate it if you check out my music and follow my journey. My album will be out next year, between March and April, and just follow my journey. I have a lot of surprises for you. I've written a lot. I've been writing music for a very long time, and I just can't wait to share all these things that I don't have anywhere online. I have some things on YouTube, but there's a lot where that
there's
came
a lot of
from,
surprises coming your way.
So.
All right, I'm looking forward to hearing it. I'm looking forward to. You said you're working on a book too. Is that correct?
This is true. Yes, I'm working on a book. I'm still in the beginning phases of the book, and it's gonna be a very motivational book.
Okay, great.
So it's really all about motivation, which is what I'm about. Yeah.
That is awesome, man. I'll look forward to checking that out as well. And time for the final question of the show. It's the title question of the show. Rocky Peter, how do you live uncontained?
Well, what keeps me going, always, like I've said in the beginning, is the love for my craft, the passion, the absolute passion for my craft. And I think about why I do what I do, though. And I could have gone to medical school. I actually thought about going to medical school a lot. But I felt like with music, I have a lot of things I want to share. I have messages that I want to share. It's a message of empowerment, empowering people that feel like it's impossible to achieve their goals and it's impossible to go to college. They are likely to know my story through music rather than me being a doctor. And what keeps me going is the fact that I not only am passionate about what I do, but I want to inspire people. I want to promote peace, love, and unity. I'm an imperfect vessel, but my mission is to use my platform and my exposure to promote peace, love, and unity. I believe that peace, love, and unity is a learning process. I just want to put this out there. I think there's a lot going on in our society here in the United States.
Yeah.
And I just want to touch up on something. There are some things I feel like we are too aggressive on, and that's the issue of, people that may make racist comments.
Yeah.
And or maybe, say like sexist things, and then when they decide to change their mind, they're called hypocrites. It's like, would you rather them keep doing that bad act, or would you?
I agree.
Or would you have them, like, there were people that they were talking about Donald Trump recently, and they're like, oh yeah, I voted for Donald Trump, but I don't support what he said, and people recently about whatever it is, and some people are like, well, you're a hypocrite. It's like, how is he a hypocrite? Like, he's. And that's just an example, right?
People can realize they made mistakes and change.
Exactly.
And we should accept that instead of make it so they want to go back into their shell and be what they were before. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that people are capable of changing. People can make racist comments and still change from it. And when people are willing to change, give them a chance. Don't keep saying you're a hypocrite, and that's just gonna make them stay the same. Do we want progress? Do we want people to change, or do we wanna keep creating hate and unnecessary anger and pain? So I get it. You have to be firm, and if you don't agree with something, you have to speak up. But I just want to say, when people show signs of changing, give them a chance to change. And that's one thing I don't think we talk about enough in pop culture and in the world that we live in today. And that's why people go back to their shell and go back to being their old self, because they want to relate. People want to relate to something. And if they're already good at being racist or sexist, and they have to learn this new behavior of not being racist, and you're not giving them a chance, it's easier to go back to being racist, right?
That is very true.
So, I'm just using race as an example, but there are many, out there, and you guys all know what they are. So let's give people a chance and be willing to teach. We are all students and teachers of life, and every day we can learn something new. Being peaceful is a learning process. Showing love to people, it's also a learning process. Knowing how to say the right things to people, being kind. We can learn anything, really. You can learn to hate, you can learn to love. So let's be willing to teach people how to love.
Very well said, man. And I am so glad that I bumped into you in Safeway with my 3 ice creams, and we started this conversation, because this is, for me, it's been an inspiring interview.
Oh, thanks.
And touched by your story, man, and I am thrilled to have you on my show. If you want to come back and talk some more, I'd be happy to have a part 2.
Fantastic.
And we can talk about your book when it comes out down the road, your new CD when it comes out.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you. And I have one final thing for you to do.
Cool.
And that is sign off the show.
Will you do me the honor of signing off the show tonight?
Yeah, so a lot of people say this old cliche saying that the sky is the limit. If you really believe in what you're doing, and I think you get where I'm going with that, the sky is not the limit. We're limitless.
Nice.
So I'm Rocky Peter, and I'm grateful to be here with Aaron, and I really appreciate this conversation. It's been amazing. He's an awesome guy, and I live uncontained.
And that does it for episode 92 of Uncontained with Rocky Peter. And it just goes to prove, talk to people while you're out and about. Don't have your head on your cell phone. You might meet the next guest to your podcast or just somebody cool like Rocky. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and hopefully we're inspired by it as well. So thank you for listening. And don't forget about the pre-Black Friday sale going on at tpublic.com. You can get Uncontained merchandise for Christmas and support the show. Thank you for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.
Thanks again for listening, and remember, next week, Uncontained will be back with brand new episodes with Ying Liu and JV Torres. Talked about those a little bit at the top of the show. But enjoy your holidays and eat lots and lots of Thanksgiving food. And don't let the tryptophan get the best of you. All right. Until next time, live uncontained.